Hey friends, welcome to the Taking Your Next Step podcast from Collegians for Christ. Through each episode, we will journey together focusing on becoming better followers of Jesus. If you are eager, like I am, to follow Jesus Christ and take your next step now by joining us in today's episode. So we're continuing to go through some steps, some helps, if you will, to help us to be with Jesus. But I want you to know this, that everything that we're looking at in our episodes here recently, they are just this, they're suggestions. You see, I cannot tell you what you may need to do in order to stop the busyness. You know your life, what kind of distractions that you have. Only you know those things. So I'm not here to tell you what you need to do. I'm just here to help you maybe to identify maybe one, maybe two, or maybe all of them, these steps that we're looking at to be with Jesus. I'm just trying to give you ideas of things that I've encountered personally in my own life and in working really in a journey to implement. And I understand it can be hard. You see, I'm working to take intentional baby steps, and I have to be consistent with this. I'm on a journey, really, because I realized that there is too much busyness in my life. It is robbing me of the joy and happiness that Jesus desires for me to have. It's created me to be very distracted where I can't focus on specific things very well. I'm doing many things mediocre, and that's not right. And it's causing me not to fulfill my roles in life like I'm supposed to be the husband, to be the father, to be the preacher, the director of CFC, to minister at ECU, and so forth in the way that I'm supposed to, because there's just so many distractions, so much busyness. It's just pulling my mind. It's causing me to not be able to make decisions because I'm having to make so many decisions. The decisions I'm making maybe are not the best decisions, and so forth. So this has just been a journey that I'm walking on. I've not arrived. I've not completed it. It can be hard, and so I'm taking these intentional steps. Why am I doing this? Because the busyness of the world is going to consume my time with something. And so I want us to talk about this next thought to be with Jesus. And it's this, striving to live a simple life. You could say it's simplicity. You could say that it is minimalism. You may be thinking, living a simple life, what are you trying to take me back to the 1700s? Don't you know we live in 2022? We're sophisticated and we have all the technological advancements in our society today. There's no time nor place for a simple life. But what I want you to understand with me is learning to live the simple life is about this. It's about having to make as few choices as possible so you can make good choices for what is important. It's about decluttering our lives from what consumes and steals our time and attention. It's about removing those distractions. Living a simple life, honestly, is very, very refreshing. And as you move forward into the simple life, or maybe you already live a simple life, it brings clarity. In order to see clearly what is important and what is not, what is essential in life and what is a non-essential. You see, it can help bring back our sanity. It can help clear our mind. It makes the small things simple so that when the big issues or the big decisions come up, we can tackle them. Now, there's a few verses we'll use over the next few episodes as we look at this idea of living a simple life, and we're going to look at it from a few different directions, and I pray it'll be a help to you. But Matthew chapter 6, verse number 25, Jesus talking here in the Sermon on the Mount, he says this, "Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment?" And he goes down in verse number 33, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Now, as we think about living a simple life and thinking about what Jesus is saying here, he's saying, look, we don't need to be worried or consumed with these external factors, with what we're going to put on, what we're going to own, what we're going to possess, what we're going to eat. And he says this very plainly, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things shall be added unto you. You see, Americans in 2022 have more stuff, you and I, than we even know what to do with. We literally fill our closets, our attics, our basements, our garages with stuff. Some of it is important. Some of it is not. Some of it we could live without. Some of it we just got just to have, maybe because somebody else have it. We have so much stuff in America that literally the storage building industry is thriving. If you ever notice, as you drive around towns, they're constantly building storage units. What is in storage units? It's stuff that we hold on to, so much stuff that we can't even fit it in our home. Obviously, stuff that maybe we need to hang on to, or maybe we're using it for a storage unit for a business, but many times it's stuff that we don't have room in our home, so we're going to pay to keep it there, and it's stuff we don't see very often. And so we have tons and tons of stuff, and many times we need to get our next fixed off buying more stuff. To click, and guess what? It shows up at the door, right? But stuff does this. It accumulates in our lives. And some of it can be physical possessions. And as we're going to look at over the upcoming episodes, some of it can be internal stuff that clutters our mind, clutters our focus, clutters our vision, clutters our desire to do maybe what our goals are. So the more stuff we have, the more attention it takes to either care for or use that stuff. In other words, the bigger the house, guess what? The more maintenance and time to take care of it. The more toys that you and I have, the more possessions, the more time it takes to even use those things and also to maintain, to care for them. We've talked about we only have X amount of time in a week, in a day, and the solution to our business is not more time. It's you and I managing our time well, and we're trying to get ourselves back to a place where we can be with Jesus. We're trying to cut through this busyness. That's what we've been focusing on in these last recent episodes. And many times we think possessions, wealth. Americans are blessed, we're wealthy, and we think wealth and happiness goes hand in hand, but it does not. Studies have actually found that the wealthier a nation is, guess what? The less happy the people are. Why is that? Because Jesus will tell us in another verse that our life consisteth not in the possessions that we have. There's more to life than food, raiment, houses, toys, possessions, Amazon.com and Walmart. There's way more to life than all of that stuff. And the problem is the desire for more stuff can easily take the place for our desire for God. The desire for more stuff, the desire to give attention to our stuff can easily take the place of us being with Jesus. We have X amount of time, and something's going to consume that time. John Ortberg writes this: for a lot of people, things aren't just things. They are identities. Shopping is not the number one leisure activity in America. Shopping is the number one leisure activity in America, usurping the place previously held by religion. Think about that. Amazon.com is a new temple. The Visa statement is the new altar. Double-clicking is the new liturgy. Lifestyle bloggers are the new priests and priestesses. Money is the new God. Think about that. Now, what we want to do is to learn to simplify our lives. In other words, to recognize what stuff is important and what stuff is not important. And we want to work at getting rid of the stuff that's not important. We want to clear out the clutter that is stealing our attention from what is most important. And I know you've heard these words over the last couple years, what was essential and what is non-essential. And what we want to work to do is to identify in our lives what is essential, what matters, what is important, what do we truly need to give our time to, and what is non-essential. Doesn't mean it's bad, but things that we maybe don't need to give our time to. Maybe something that is a distraction. Maybe something that's taking time away from doing what you really want to do. And so we want to look at this idea of reducing the clutter in our life. We're going to look at that in our next episode. And the episode following that, we want to look at the idea of reducing the amount of choices that you and I have to make. And as we look at our lives and we begin to think about, hey, I want to live a simple life, we're not just necessarily talking about, we're going to talk about maybe, yes, removing some things from our life. We have a lot of stuff, but really it's going to be about decluttering our lives, the internal part, so that we can take that attention, we can take that time, we can take that ability, that mental clarity that'll be freed up and use that for what we've been talking about, to be with Jesus. Because as we be with Jesus, then we can become like Jesus. Then we'll thirdly live like Jesus. And I know I'm hitting it heavy here on this idea of being with Jesus, but if we can't fix that, we're never going to get to the next two steps. If we can't take the time out to really evaluate our lives, really see where we're at, and really to see what is essential in my life. Where am I? How much time and energy am I actually giving to the essential? Because sometimes we'll find this. We'll find all this non-essential stuff is getting the bulk of our attention and time, and the essentials in life are getting the leftovers. And that's got it backwards, and we've got to fix that. So walk with us as we look into our next episode at decluttering our lives. Thank you for taking the time to listen. If this podcast has been helpful to you, please share it with a friend or subscribe to stay up to date on the latest episodes. You can connect with Collegians for Christ online for more information and resources at cfccampusministry.com.